of the challenges that we're facing as a local area is that due to kind of wider pressures nationally on particular budgets for health and social care, is that as that happens, people do tend to draw back into their own areas rather than work collaboratively, and that's just a natural product of what happens in those situations. And that's not through lack of willing from individuals, because people who are involved in this process are really keen to work together, but sometimes they've been pulled back into other agendas just because of the wider pressures on the system.
Yeah, and that probably is the overarching challenge. That we know that that's why, but it results in us being able to potentially do all the things we need to do. Care coordination really is a really significant role for anybody to take on, and we know that probably a lot of what we're trying to achieve won't work without it. But it does involve collaboration and working across and taking responsibility for areas of work that are slightly wider than your own. And when things are tough, people are working to tight referral criteria and delivering on episodic care. Episodic care for some of the people we're working with is fine, but the overall picture is quite often not going to be managed in an episodic way. There are lots of things that need a kind of longer term strategy. And so we have a lot of those issues. Some of the other really big ones are how we do learn how to do some of this stuff right. We don't know it all yet. So I think the learning disability agenda has been really, really different to what we're doing with autism. And we're kind of trying to find out what we do for people who have autism and then become very unwell or very unsafe. We are looking at what good support looks like for that. We've had all the focus for autism on diagnosis, really, policy-wise and nationally policy-wise. And so unsurprisingly, we've identified many, many more people with autism, which now leads us to ask the questions about what we're going to do with people with autism who are not living happy and healthy lives, and what good care and support would look like. So that's a really big challenge for us, as is bringing providers into the market, housing-wise and support-wise, who've got the range of skills that we need, because it's very, very different to the stuff that people were talking about at the beginning of the programme, Transforming Care programme.
Yeah, and I think some of that's been following on from what Ali said, is around the fact that originally Transforming Care was around a really particular defined cohort of individuals who had a learning disability, but because more recently it now includes individuals who have autism, their set of needs are very different to people who've got a learning disability. So it's around staff that are working across these areas having a better understanding of those needs as well.
And it's pushed us into areas of work that we weren't anticipating. So we're in mainstream mental health services, working with people who've always been there. So people have always had the right to access mental health services if you have autism or not. But the agenda is highlighting how many people are struggling to cope, and the autism diagnosis is, as we say, on the increase. So you're then aware that somebody's got autism, and there are adjustments that need to be made to mental health services to make it kind of an appropriate way to deliver care. But it's putting massive pressure on a mental health service that on the whole is under huge strain because of finances and money. And so that's where we are at the moment, looking at that mainstream agenda and how to kind of make sure that people have equal access to the things they need and the bits that are missing.